सर्वजनमे वसमानाय स्वाहा. Ganesha is an elephant-headed god. His energy dissolves obstacles of all kinds. Listen to the mantras and dissolve all obstacles. Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chadurabhujam Prasannavadanam Jayed Sarva Vignoparashyantaye. This chant comprising of magical sounds will dissolve obstacles that lie in the future, unseen. Obstacles unseen. Shri
So welcome everyone to this special webcast for Dr. Pillai's Mystery School 2 program. My name is Sarah and I'm very excited to be here to walk you through an extensive overview of the program that Dr. Pillai will be starting in January of this coming year. And I'm also joined today by Sonja, who I'll introduce properly in just one moment. I want to give you a quick overview of what's going to happen on our webinar so you know what to look forward to. So Dr. Pillai in the last 2 weeks has given you what he titled Mini Mystery School Teachings the last 2 Saturdays. So I highly recommend that you review those and you can go back and watch his teachings and take the simple but profound techniques he's given and incorporate them into your daily meditation. So he's given us a taste of what's to come in Mystery School 2. And now today we're going to dive deeper and walk you through the actual components of the program. So you have a good idea of what to expect and you can join and experience Dr. Pillai over the course of 12 months in this special journey with him. So as I mentioned, we are joined today by Sonja, who is a longtime student of Dr. Pillai. She's been studying with him for over 17 years. And beyond that, she plays a vital role to help build several of his companies, such as Astraved, Pillai Center, Tripura Foundation, which you're all familiar with, as well as Dr. Pillai's work with phonemic intelligence, both in the US and in India. So I'm grateful that she's here with us today. She also is playing a vital role in this program. Dr. Pillai is changing Mystery School quite a bit from the first year to incorporate new aspects, supplemental teachings, some technology to help us really implement these teachings into our day-to-day life. And Sonja knows quite a bit about those. So she's gonna guide us through the main components that Dr. Pillai has presented for the teachings in Mystery School. Before I bring Sonja on and we go into that, I just want to explain that it's going to be slightly different in this mystery school, where Dr. Pillai has divided it into 6 sections. So the program officially starts in January and it'll be a 12-month program, but to give everyone more time with each of the topics, he's divided it into 2-month segments. So each topic we discuss today will have a longer period of time to work with, to do the meditations and to work with his teachings and the other aspects of the program as support material too. So that's a little bit different than in previous years. It's exciting because it's going to allow us to explore teachings for a longer period of time. And each teaching will be delivered by Dr. Pillai. So Mystery School is Dr. Pillai's premier program. It's his live program, the only one like it. And so once a month, he'll be having a video session with us where he delivers the teaching and a meditation technique. And then he'll also have a call with us during that 2-month session to go back through what he already gave and then to give new revelations, which is one of the best parts of Mystery School. You get to be in real time with Dr. Pillai as new things, new information is revealed to him, and then he shares it with everyone in the program. So that's how it's going to be laid out, the teaching section. And Sonja is going to walk us through these components. They're posted on the website, but we're going to dive deeper so that you understand how this can impact your life and why you would want to participate in Mystery School this year. So welcome, Sonja.
Thank you, Sarah. It's really a blessing to be able to be here and to share probably, I think, the most exciting mystery school program that Dr. Pillai has ever done. Every year, he says he's going to go into retirement. This is it. And we're fortunate that he has emerged once again to share these teachings, which you cannot access anywhere else. Very few masters would reveal what he's going to be revealing in this mystery school. So I'm thrilled to share anything I can to be helpful and share some exciting things that he has shared with me and with yourself. And we can let people know what they can accomplish this year in 2018.
Yeah, and I think one of the greatest things is just the energy behind it, that it does feel like a different program, and he's really giving us so much. So to get started with the actual teachings that he's presented, these sort of 6 key topics. The first one Dr. Pillai has brought to our attention is about communicating with gods and goddesses or divine beings. So I wanted to ask you kind of the basic question of what is a god or goddess, and why would you or I or someone joining the program want to communicate with them?
That is the question, right? Why talk to gods and goddesses? It's not necessary for our day-to-day life, or so we think. And Dr. Pillai, he, in several other videos that he's made, has described gods and goddesses as, in Indian nomenclature, they're called something else. They're called devatas, which are bright, shiny beings. Gods and goddesses are supernormal beings that have a tremendous amount of light and energy and power. And the ones that have become known on the earth plane all have the ability to gift you with certain help on this earth plane if, as Dr. Pillai writes, if you know the password and you know the time to call them and you know the place, these bright, shiny beings will call upon you. And I'm sorry, just my phone was going off there. These bright, shiny beings are there for you to be call upon. There's a phone call. They're calling. And they will respond to you. So, but the question is why? Like, well, okay, that's great. They're there. We can ask, but why do I need them? And I thought of a couple practical examples on how to make that really useful. One is that, say, for instance, you're just going through your day, you're a powerful person, you're in work, you're trying to accomplish something, you want to do good. But what happens is you have someone at the office who's causing tons of problems for you, probably because you're a good person, right? And they're having a bad day. But every time you come to the office, this person is out there to create obstacles for you, delay your work, and just make work a miserable experience. Now, our logical human way to fix that problem would be to go to the boss, try to talk to that person, try to, work. But what if they're just not approachable? This is where an example of where you would want to communicate with the gods and goddesses. You can easily then, with the right password at the right time and the place, call upon the god of protection. And that god of protection would come and protect you. He would immediately cut those negative energy lines towards you. And that person would stop even thinking about you entirely. So when you go to the office, you would have this harmony and this peace where you could do your work and your dharma and what you want to accomplish without this additional obstacle. So on the other side, if you are going for, say you want to create a new business, or you want to get an interview with somebody or talk to a new client, but you're not even sure they're going to give you the time of day, they're a little bit out of your realm, you could call upon like a god of prosperity or god or goddess of prosperity who can grant you and attract that meeting to you, where your normal karma, your normal mindset would not think you're good enough to get that meeting or would sabotage that meeting. They would say no and you would get despondent. With this, with calling upon the gods and goddesses, if you have that god or goddess who is the one who controls the energy of attraction, and you request them, you're like, please get this meeting for me, you would get that meeting. And even if you were turned down, something would happen and you would still get that meeting. So there are ways you can ask gods and goddesses for help, very practical ways. And it's not something we grow up with. Why do you want to communicate with God? But there are practical ways that learning to communicate with these bright, shiny beings can really be helpful in your life.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I also think it's very relevant to people. I've heard a lot of stories about workplace, just, working it out with people in your office or your family or your friends. So that's a great example that really helps people. I know that's a topic a lot of people are interested in, but like you said, some people it's new to, so it's great to have that information. Another topic that seems to be pretty interesting to people that Dr. Pillai has brought to the table for this mystery school is lucid dreaming. So Dr. Pillai has talked a lot about the different brainwaves, and I know this is exciting for you. He mentioned that it's the theta waves that are superior and that allow your brain to create, he calls it lucid dreaming and creating a new reality. So that if you move into these different states of your brain waves, specifically the theta ones, that you can create a new reality. But then he says most of us spend more of our time stuck in the alpha or the beta waves. So I was hoping that you could help us by explaining what this means and how it's relevant to us.
That's a great question because, quite apparently, 95% of humanity has no idea the difference between a theta, a beta, and an alpha brain state. I certainly didn't either. But in the next 5 minutes, we're all going to move from that 95% of not knowing theta, beta, alpha, and we are now going to move to that 5% who can intelligently speak about theta, beta, and alpha. So what I thought I might do, though, is actually share a quick little screen I did on this little PowerPoint here, just because I think it's easier visually to kind of see it. And I promise you this will be a brief, easy to learn cliff notes of thought neuroscience, and we're going to walk away in the next 5 minutes solid on our alpha, beta, and gamma brainwaves and theta. So as a background, though, I think it's really helpful to know when we're talking about our brains and our human vibration, everything in this world is a frequency or a wave or a vibration, and we often kind of don't know where we as a human fit into this. We have cell phones, we have radio waves, we have light. So just kind of a refresher from your high school physics days. This is a quick little chart I found, which explains the different frequencies of common technologies or things that we use on a day-to-day basis. There's X-rays and visible light, and at the higher end of the range, these waves are very, very high frequency. They're high energy, and what that high frequency means actually is that these waves are very, very short and tiny. The wavelength, that the time that it takes that wave to cross itself, it's like the time it takes a wave to move from one point to another, the duration of its full length is very, very small. So when you're talking about these high frequency waves like light, visible light, X-rays, those are very relatively so high frequency waves. And as you go down lower and lower on the scale, you get to radio waves, AM waves, then you get down to our auditory frequency vibe, and then you get to the subsonic waves. Now this is where it gets interesting, because what is subsonic? Well, brainwaves, right? Our brainwaves and our thoughts operate at subsonic or infrasonic frequencies. And that means that these waves are very long. When you go into low frequency states, the wavelength of these waves could be hundreds of thousands of miles. I mean, they're very, very long waves, and yet they're very subtle. So this is how they measure brainwaves. And because of technology and development of science, they've been able to categorize the different quality of our brainwaves into different frequencies. And this is pretty much what it looks like. So there are 5 primary groupings of our brainwaves. And the highest frequency one, the one with the highest energy and most activity, is called gamma. And our brains don't normally stay in a gamma state. It's kind of like this burst of activity where the whole brain is active. And it could be like a sudden burst of insight, but it's not easy to maintain, nor necessarily desirable, because it's full brain activity all the time, not turned off. The next level down is called beta, which Dr. Pillai referred to on the website. Now, beta waves are basically our day-to-day thoughts. So as soon as you hear beta, think, I'm in beta. I'm using beta to speak. You're using beta to listen to this. You're reading the slide. We're using beta to do this. It's analytical, it's logic, it's cognition. But at the higher frequency of beta, that's also our stress and our anxiety, our thoughts that cause us pain, the fight or flight response. Those are all considered in that beta wave state. Now, if you go a little bit calmer and you slow it down a little bit more, you go into a state called alpha. And alpha is a more relaxed state. It's more kind of like when you just kick back and relax, not watching TV, but you just kind of take a breather. You're in a light meditative state, and you just kind of relax. And during the alpha state, it's actually very easy to absorb things and learn things. And it's the start of when the brain starts to go into this unconscious mindset. Otherwise, we've been in our rational, conscious thinking state, which is beta. When you slow it down, that's when into the alpha state, your unconscious mind begins to develop. And it's also where serotonin is released. And serotonin is pretty much a feel-good hormone. So you start to relax and you start to feel good. Now, what happens after you kind of relax? Well, you might fall asleep. And that is the next state. That's the theta state. It's a sleep state where you have rapid eye movement. So it's the dreaming sleep state. And I have a big word up there, but don't worry about that big word. It's called increase, I hope I say this right, catecholamines, which are basically like your endorphins and your adrenaline. So when you're in dream state, your adrenaline system repairs, and it's a feel-good reparative state. But interesting in that theta state is when you start to access the unconscious mind. And you can also enter into this state in deep meditation. When you're doing some very deep meditation and your thoughts stop, you enter into a theta state as well. It's also the state of lucid dreaming, which is this module. And then as you go a bit slower and even more so, it's the sleep state and the deep relaxation state. So those are the frequencies. So I think now, everyone knows beta means normal thinking state. Alpha is when you kind of relax. And then theta is that rapid eye movement, sleep state. It's also the place of lucid dreaming. And when your brain gets really, really quiet, that's samadhi and deep relaxation. I just want to show you quickly before I move this back to Paru of what it looks like, basically an untrained mind and a trained mind. So for most of us, unless you're maybe in the arts or something, for most of us, our brain is on the left. Right? There's the beta sign. We're thinking individuals, and we're very left brain. And as you know, left brain is logical. We use a little glimmer of our right brain, but we're primarily pretty much in beta state. If you're a scientist or you're doing any type of day-to-day work, you're pretty much in beta. But as you train your mind through meditation and practice and activate both sides of your brain, the trained brain looks very different. And it's a brain that is alert, it's balanced, it's focused, it can deal with a number of situations in a non-stress manner. Because beta is a thinking state, but beta is also the stressful state. So on the right here, you have what a trained mind looks like. And there's the beta. And then you go down lower, that big burst there is the alpha when you're in that calm, relaxed state. And then you get a little bump of that theta. And then below is the delta. So basically, that's the difference between your day-to-day brain and a trained brain where you will be at the end of the mystery school. Let me just stop that sharing there and hand that back to you, Paru.
Thank you for that. It's definitely helpful to see what that looks like.
You're right, and now we're in the 5% of everybody who knows about brainwaves.
Yes, we're already ahead. So I'm wondering more about this and Dr. Pillai putting it into mystery school as something that people can like practically use too. And I know he's mentioned in the literature he gave us about the teachings, he mentioned Thomas Edison, who obviously was a famous inventor, but as someone who used lucid dreaming. And so I was wondering if you could explain that a little bit, like, why is it useful to someone like Thomas Edison? And then how can it be useful to us that we could actually use the lucid dreaming technique to help us?
Yeah, this is actually fascinating. And when Dr. Pillai first shared this with me, I was really blown away. Some scientists had done some research on Thomas Edison out of the University of London. And Thomas Edison obviously is a scientist. So remember that graph, he's left brain beta, right? He's thinking, he's logical, he's using his mind. But what he did, which kind of put him out of the class of the other scientists and his contemporaries at the time, and this is documented, he would do this technique where after a day of work, all the problems would be running through his mind. He would sit in his armchair, completely relaxed, right? And what does that do? We know that now. He's going into a little bit alpha. So he sits in his armchair and he would hold this rubber ball in his hand. And beneath it, he would have this metal plate. And as he would begin to relax and kind of drift off to sleep, and he would just let his mind relax and kind of drift off. As soon as he started to fall asleep and enter that theta state, the ball would drop from his hand and hit that metal plate. So he drifted off to theta, but yet the sound of that ball would activate some beta. So he could simultaneously be in a theta beta state. Now, obviously, Edison didn't have EEGs at the time and didn't know how to do this, but that's pretty much the definition of lucid dreaming. There's lucid dreaming you do at night when you're dreaming, and then you try to become conscious in the dream. And if you're dreaming at night and you can wake yourself up and be aware, you have the power to control that dream and to control reality and actually start to influence your mundane reality. There's another technique that Edison did, which I also think Dr. Pillai will share more on in the new mystery school, where you're in a conscious state and you relax and you put yourself into that lucid dreaming state while still conscious. So it's very exciting that we can enter these states because Thomas Edison was able to pull concepts, relations, and ideas that put him far above any of his peers by doing this. He could see correlations no one else could see. So lucid dreaming is very important for you to be able to create at a different level using your full brain activation.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I think so relevant to everyone that we could tap into that. I know Dr. Pillai mentioned doing it at certain times. So there'll be specific times that he guides us to do the lucid dreaming, and then also to be able to write it down to not forget what happens. So if you have those great ideas, those Thomas Edison type of inventions, whatever it is in your world, that you want to capture that as well. And I think it's really exciting. I know a lot of people have asked about the lucid dreaming section, so I look forward to more from Dr. Pillai on that.
It's mind-blowing. You can really create your whole new reality when you know how to control your brain, and Dr. Pillai is going to do this from the Siddha and the Tamil Siddha perspective. So you're getting it from a mastery perspective. He's going to share even more secrets.
Yeah, that's right. I know you had mentioned, I mentioned Thomas Edison, but Dr. Pillai also mentioned how the yogis and the siddhas were adept at lucid dreaming. And so he can give us all of that information from the siddha lineage.
Yes, definitely.
So that leads us into another pretty amazing thing Dr. Pillai is going to share, which is very high teachings. He's talked to us a bit about Brahma Vidya and creating an unlimited mindset. And I know when you talked to me about this recently, it just inspired me about the program and how different it feels this year and how much motivation Dr. Pillai has behind it to help us really look at where we're starting, what's happening right now, and where we're going to be, to have some metrics to watch what happens. And he really wants us all to succeed. So I know we talked a little bit about his phrase, to be focused, to be clear, and to be purposeful, came in this section. And I thought you could elaborate on that a little bit more and help us understand why we need to do that and how we can get there in mystery school.
Exactly. And this is, I believe Dr. Pillai has this on the program description too, about Warren Buffett. So both Warren Buffett and Bill Gates were asked, when they first met, they were asked by an interviewer, what is the number one thing that you need more of to be more successful? And they both separately wrote down a word, and then they flipped it over and they had the exact same word. The one thing that Bill Gates and Warren Buffett said was critical to their success and to be successful was focus. Now, if we examine our own minds, how focused are we? You know, it's Facebook, it's tweets, it's responding to text messages, it's email obsession. How focused are we with all this beta activity, right? All this extra stimuli coming at us, at our mind. So with this, Brahma Vidya, which is one of the highest siddha teachings and highest yogi teachings about learning how to breathe through the different chakras and to actually develop that super deity focus, being clear, being purposeful. But what we'd also like to do in the mystery school is to work with everyone in the mystery school to be crystal clear in what they want to accomplish. And it has to come from within you. No one's going to be able to give you an external goal for your life. So what some of the activities we're going to be doing is for you to get very clear, very focused, and very purposeful about your life and your time. Like, what do you want to do in 2018? Who are you? And what excites you? And how can you do more of that? Whether it's making more money, starting a business, finding a relationship, having better health. Let's take that. Let's really own with that. And let's put focus, clarity, and purpose behind it with this technique. And we're going to have some apps that we're developing. They might be delayed maybe like 3 or 4 months into the program, but they are in process. So we're going to have a lot of reminders and apps to keep you clear and focused on what you say is important to you. So you set what you want. You set your 2018. You control your 2018. You determine, this is the year it's going to happen, and we're going to do everything we can to support Dr. Pillai's divine teachings and keep you to your own commitment.
Oh, that's so exciting. And I think it will help all of us to have this community to make us be accountable, because we're, like you said, you have to choose the goals yourself for what you really want. But there is a support system, and we're going to do our best to give you the tools to stay on track, to have that focus. And I remember you said that clarity is creation, is what Dr. Pillai said. And
Dr. Pillai said, yeah.
Yesterday, I was like, oh, that's what we all need. So
clarity is creation. When you're clear, it's easy. When you're not clear, you're going to get spaghetti.
Yes, exactly.
And it comes from inside. As you all know, what is inside is outside. So if you want to know what you're creating, just look around your life. But it doesn't have to be that way. And I think Dr. Pillai is giving us these practices to change our expectations about ourselves, get us focused, clear, and purposeful.
It's very exciting, and I can feel the energy and the passion for this, and I hope people also feel that, because it really is a different year to go through this and to have these extra supplemental supports. Like you said, there'll be apps down the line and ways to stay on track, to stay focused, to check what we're doing, if we're wasting time, to get back on our focus on our goals, what we want to create.
Yes.
All right, so the next topic is one that everybody loves and something Dr. Pillai incorporates into his teachings. It's about the ability to attract and manifest. So Dr. Pillai always is talking to us about the 200% life, that you need to be able to create what you want, both in the material world and the spiritual world. So he's put down a topic in these key teachings that has to do with conscious, unconscious, and subconscious attraction and manifestation. And I know you mentioned to me the other day that a personal experience that Dr. Pillai gave you a technique that was very much about attraction and just the impact that had on you. I thought that would be really helpful for people to hear such a personal experience, to be able to relate to. There's a really big thing for attraction and manifestation.
Yeah, so I think I hope it's a good example of what it is to consciously attract or unconsciously, because I had a big lesson in this. So when I first met Dr. Pillai back in 2000, he gave a mantra, which was to attract. And basically it was let everybody be attracted to me and do exactly what I say. And I was working at the time in New York City, downtown in Wall Street, and I was at a client, and I really, really wanted to meet the owner of the company, the chairman of the board. I was like intent on it. I'm like, I want to meet this guy. He should give us more business. I really, really want to meet him. And so I was doing the mantra Dr. Pillai gave me all the time. I was just constantly doing the mantra, and I'm like, I have to. I must meet this guy. You know, thinking I have to meet this chairman. I gotta meet the chairman. And I go to the office every day. I had no idea how it could possibly happen. So I'm in the office one day, and they're like, "Hey, the board of directors is in the office today." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "Okay, this is my shot, right?" You know, so I'm kind of like, keeping my eyes peeled and everything, and doing the mantra. And I'm like a little nervous because, in my mind, I doubted it. It's like, oh, I don't know. Why would they ever want to look at me? I had my own company, but I certainly didn't have the confidence mentally. I was like, okay, I really want to attract him emotionally, but I don't know him at all. So I'm working away. And as I'm working, I'm really doing this attraction mantra. And the first person who stops by is some kid. And he kind of pops over the cubicle, and he looks at me, and he's just like, "Hi." And I kind of look at him and I'm like, "Hi." And I totally blow him off because I'm like, well, I was trying to attract the chairman, and I get this bozo who's not even dressed in a suit, this kid, like, what's going on? So go back to the mantra, the whole day goes through, and the day's over, and I miss meeting the board of directors, the chairman of the board. And I was really disappointed. I was like, oh, I really wanted to meet them and share with Dr. Pillai, guess who I met, And as I'm leaving, one of my colleagues said, "Oh, did you meet the chairman?" I'm like, "No, I didn't." And he's like, "Oh, well, this is his picture." And it was the kid who popped his head over my cubicle. So here he was. I did nothing. I was just sitting there, and this chairman came over to speak to me in a very friendly manner, and I totally blew him off. So this is definitely the difference between conscious and unconscious attraction, because consciously I had a very specific I wanted to attract the chairman, but I had a very specific idea on what it was, on what he looked like and what he should be, and a lot older, obviously. So what happened then is I thought it was over, but I kept doing the mantra. Because he's not normally in New York City. I kept doing the mantra. And then Dr. Pillai, I had spoken with him, and he just made one really cryptic comment, because I mentioned to him, I was like, "Dr. Pillai, I have to go to St. Louis for this meeting. They're having me to go to their headquarters." And I knew the chairman was out there too, but I didn't have any expectation. They're pulling me there. And Dr. Pillai knew, though. He was just like, And he's like, won't everyone be a little jealous when you're flying around in private helicopters and with CEOs? And I was like, yeah, sure. And again, logical mind, right? You have the teacher mentioning this. And sure enough, I get to St. Louis, and through a series of events, I end up in the chairman's private helicopter with his CFO, his lawyer, taking me to one of the most exclusive clubs in all of St. Louis. And it wasn't anything I set up. It was one of my colleagues saying, hey, you want to see if we can get a ride in, Jim's helicopter? So in a very friendly manner, I was able to attract what I had been attracting. So there's definitely the gods are helping you when you do these sounds, or however Dr. Pillai empowers us. There is that level of unconscious attraction where we are a magnet, and we don't even know we're a magnet. But our mental conscious attraction and our beta waves will come in and kind of be a little bit slow on the uptake. Our divine mind is much faster than our logical mind. But fortunately for me, I think Dr. Pillai intervened and made something happen for me.
That's fantastic. I just love that story. I think it gives us a lot of hope, and just shows the dedication when you stick to these techniques and they work and you're not even conscious of it, but then you still learn the lesson and then you become more conscious. So that's a great story. And I know in the description of it as well, Dr. Pillai mentioned there's two types of attraction. So there's the one where you're consciously, or your conscious attraction is on a particular goal. So you're putting that attraction on that goal to manifest it. And then there's what you were saying, just becoming a magnet that will attract whatever that conscious intention is. So
yeah, and hopefully you're not as slow on the uptake that you have become a magnet. So pay attention.
And the other part of that is that Dr. Pillai mentioned the sounds Nama Chivaya, which I can just say personally from working in the previous mystery school, people had really great experiences with these sound vibrations, and Dr. Pillai gave different combinations and way to use the sounds and visualizations, meditations that supported it. And just, it was really one of people's most favorite like different variations on it, but there was a lot of positive feedback. So I know there's more to explore with these sound vibrations, and just from what I witnessed, it was really powerful. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen this year. So that takes us to another one of these topics. There's just so much in each topic that Dr. Pillai is giving us. And this is about creating a super brain and a super mind. So much of the course, much of Dr. Pillai's teachings right now are really focused on both the mind and the brain and how they go together. So you've already explained different things about the states of our brain, the brain waves. But there's other elements Dr. Pillai wants to bring into it as far as developing a super brain and a super mind. He talks a little bit about like where our thoughts come from, and then introducing some techniques that can help us change those. So he talks about our genetics, our environment, things like that. And I was wondering if you can explain that a little bit more as far as the impact of, sometimes we think these thoughts are our own, but maybe they're coming from somewhere else, and why these techniques are so important to help us really develop that super brain and super mind.
Yeah, I thought this was really interesting what he had put in this program component, because under the technique, he put something called genetics, and that was the performance of tarpanam, or the suppression of beta brainwaves through meditation techniques. And I thought that was fascinating because we don't really know where our thoughts come from. We like to think they all come from us, but we know that's not the truth, right? We're all connected to everything. We're influenced by everybody all the time. And Dr. Pillai has been teaching many times about soul genetics and tarpanam. So much of our thoughts that we have, our beta wave patterns, are ingrained from our ancestors and from our family and from environmental conditions. And we have to reconfigure those beta brainwaves and reconfigure and erase those tracks in our brain. But, you know, in many ways, that kind of comes with the birth that we took. So we kind of have to deal with them. And those are the persistent ones, right? The ones where you're persistently down on yourself because you messed up on something and you don't try again, right? That's something you've learned. You know, that could be from one of your parents, a grandparent, a behavior you observed, some trauma you went through. It comes from an environmental factor, but it's also in your DNA and your genetics on how you responded to that. So in this program, Dr. Pillai is going to delve very deeply into these different techniques where we can break free of these patterns where that are not conducive and not who we are. We've taken them as ourselves, right? We take that like I'm a loser, or we believe that, or I'm mediocre, or I'm a doctor, I'm a psychologist, whatever it is. We all have this identity and also our expectations on who we are and what we're capable of. And I think that's probably the better word, the expectations. And that expectation is limited to a great part by our ancestors and our genetics. So I'm really looking forward to this module, because who wouldn't want a super brain, and who wouldn't want to get rid of all of this stuff that is not who you are? It's holding you back, because we are God. And if you think anything else other than yourself of being this great, likable, amazing light being, I don't think we're living up to our true potential.
Yeah, that's so well said. And I think that idea that we do just settle for these mediocre lives and stay stuck, you know, it's uncomfortable, but to move beyond it can be so challenging for us. And to me, this is the most exciting, because you're right. I feel like people have the potential to be their most divine self. And like, if everyone in this program expressed that and lived that way, it would just, you know, we're changing the world. And I think that's such a gift Dr. Pillai gives us. And to really take it to heart this year, like to really go for it, and all of the support putting behind it. So that is possible. You're right. Who doesn't want a super brain?
Who doesn't? Yeah.
And so the final teaching point is really quite a big one. And it's one that's actually, I feel like it's thread throughout all the others and most of what Dr. Pillai teaches, because it's the element of time and our relationship to time. So he talks about the acceleration of time, the deceleration of time, and how we can do this, all of the ways we experience time. So on the website, in the descriptions, there's just so much about time, time related to how we experience aging. So like the human clock and our relationship to that, instant manifestation, how could you actually live in a timeless state? Time in relationship to the archetypes, like you said, communicating with gods and goddesses. There's an astrological component to this program, and Dr. Pillai will often explain time and the planets. That's always a part of his teachings. And even last week when he was talking about karma, he said time is the backdrop of karma and how we experience it. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. I know you've worked with Dr. Pillai and sort of how we experience things, you know, from our neocortex, where there is time, and he's often trying to get us to move into different parts of our brain that aren't frozen in time, that aren't limited to that. I know it's a big topic, but maybe you could help us address a few elements of how to use time in this world.
Yeah, I think it's hard because he gives so much on that site. So I know that he has looked at the different areas in the brain where time is processed and where timelessness is processed. So I think in this mystery school too, he will be sharing a lot of Siddha secrets and secrets from the masters about how you can manipulate time, how you can speed it up whenever it's conducive, and when you can slow it down when you need to do it. And I think that is going to be a really exciting thing. One thing he did say is that time is mind. So there's a deep correlation between your mind and your mental structure and time. So I'm very much looking forward to that module myself. On a practical note, though, I know that we've been working on, Sarah and I have been working on a lot of supplemental programs for time management as well. So again, it goes back to mastering your own personal time, to not becoming unconscious. And we're going to kind of give you some techniques Dr. Pillai has shared over the years to help you not lose a second of your lifetime. You know, we have this one life, we're here, and we're with this amazing master, and we can do incredible things on this earth. There's no better time for you to actualize your full power of your full being, because there's so many opportunities for everybody now with the advent of the internet and access to resources. This is the time for us to take on our higher self and do what we want to accomplish. But to do that, there's some practical time steps where you have to create a little discipline around your time and your time management as well. So with Dr. Pillai's guidance, we're developing a little bit of a supplemental material. Again, but it's to help you measure and keep track on what excites you the most, right? It's like if there's something that you really love to do, and whenever you think of that one thing, it makes you so excited. And then you go through your day and you forget, but you come on a mystery school call and someone reminds you, wait, you get excited and you love this. This is what, you love. That's great, right? You have a great management app and you have a great program that's going to keep you aligned and keep you excited so that your 2018 is going to be mind-blowing. This is the year. No more time. This is the year of transformation. And we don't know if Dr. Pillai will do another course. Every year he says it's his last one. And, every year he kind of starts to think about it. He's like, okay, I have more to teach. So let's absorb what he has while the time is there and master our time. And again, the biggest gift we could give Dr. Pillai from joining this course is your transformation. That at the end of 2018, maybe it happens faster, maybe it happens halfway through, you had a list of things you wanted to get clear and focused in your goals on, and you accomplished them. And you did it through this program and Dr. Pillai's teachings and mastering them in your own life. And you're happier and you're more focused and you're goal orientated and you have a whole new life.
Wow. Yes, that's fantastic. And he always says waiting is a waste of time. So
waiting is a waste of time.
It keeps hitting home with, and also just, being really excited about helping one another, because we do need support and community to hold ourselves accountable. But there's so many people excited about being in this program and making the most of their time, really changing things. I know people from the previous year who became so good at managing their time, looking at the components of time that Dr. Pillai usually teaches us and just living and breathing those things. And it's inspiring and impressive. And I just think it will continue to grow because people they see the benefits. And like you said, you're able to measure, where you were, where you're starting from, and where you are in a month or 2 months or 6 months. And remembering those goals that you're excited about and moving out of that mediocrity. So there's a lot in these teachings, and you've helped us so much, Sonja, to go through.
Oh, thanks. My pleasure. But I know you have a special gift for everybody who came on the program, right? You have, at the end, I don't want to give it away, but I know after this call, you have a special video or something?
Yes, a little inspiration Sonja helped with. Just to see and hear in Dr. Pillai's own words, some inspiration about the program and reminding you that you are in control of your own life and making.
Were there other program components that you're also going to share more about with Dr. Pillai? Because everything we talked about, I think is only half of the program, right? Everything we just talked about on this call is about half the program.
Right. So the essence of the program is what we just went over, and those 6 teaching components, those themes that Dr. Pillai is going to spend 2 months at a time with us. That's going to be our practice from him, our meditation, the lecture he gives us, the revelations that come through his experience. And those also, this is what he's given us now, but Dr. Pillai is so in the moment that these may evolve. And he said, he'll only enhance the program if need be. So it really is about living with him in the moment and receiving his divine inspiration. So this is where we're starting with these topics. But you're right, this is only half of the program. So this is the level of the teaching. And then there's all these things that happen for you behind the scenes at different times of year. And I just wanted to touch on those briefly so that you have a little idea about it. So we're going to do a whole separate call for you on the karma busting technologies. And Sonja knows this from all your time in India and again, developing Ashtravet and Pillai Center and the remedies that we do for people. There's so many, there's 25 remedies done for you every month. Some are done daily, some are done weekly, and some at specific times throughout the month. Dr. Pillai won't allow the program to happen without those remedies. So he said they're that important. Recently he was asked why they're in the program, and it's to give us extra support, it's to give us protection, it's to help us break through tough karma that comes up. And Dr. Pillai has actually chosen these, the rituals, the different types of technology from the Vedic system that are done on our behalf. So there's 25 done every single month for 12 months for you. So it's the most extensive remedy package we have to offer through Pillai Center in this program. Again, we're going to talk about that, go through it thoroughly for you in about 2 weeks so that you can ask questions about the remedies in more detail. There's also 2 astrology readings that you get twice a year from astrologers that Dr. Pillai has trained. And they're also program members, so they understand what's happening in the program. And they're going to teach you about the planets and your relationship to the planets and how to cultivate that to help you in the 12 months so you understand what's going on for you specifically. There's also community. So community is really important, like we said, to support each other, to hold ourselves accountable, to listen, and to encourage each other. So there's weekly calls we're going to have where we meditate, and I invite different teachers from Pillai Center to come and help us experience the meditation and the topics Dr. Pillai brings up. There's also community on Facebook, which has been really positive. A lot of you have participated in other programs on Facebook. We'll keep that going. There's been a request for community-led calls. We've done this a few times in the year-long programs where members within the program help each other, and they set up calls and they go through the meditation together. So that's an idea that's been put out. We'll try and make that happen for those people who want that. There will be some extra supplemental teachings that Sonja mentioned that we'll be delivering as per Dr. Pillai's instructions on these specific topics. We'll be introducing, again, more astrology, some rituals for you to go through. There's a lot of teachers at Pillai Center that are pulling together to be part of this. So you'll have a lot of resources and support from longtime students of Dr. Pillai who can help address questions that you have about the program. Another component are actual tools that you receive. So the rituals that are done for you in India, there's a surrogate, which is a copper plate or a yantra that is inscribed with your own birth chart. And it's a sacred geometry because it's the chart of the planet. So it's representing you, and there's 6 of those yantras in India that spend the whole year as part of the rituals. And then there's one for you to use at home in your practice. And the other thing that you get, which is really great, and we'll talk a bit more about, is Dr. Pillai's birth chart. So it's a way to directly connect to him throughout the whole year. And it's rolled up and put into a little amulet. So you can wear it, you can carry it with you, you can hold it when you meditate, and then you're always in contact with his energy directly. So those are the products that you receive to help you along the way. Like we said, there will most likely be some apps at some point in the program, but we'll give you supplemental information and help as those are developed. And then if that's not enough, there's a gift that Dr. Pillai has given. So he's given a second course to everyone, his Shreem Brazil course. It's called Wealth Rising. Some of you are in that, and it's all about prosperity consciousness and what you want to manifest and bringing Shreem Brazil to life in your life. That's completely complimentary for everyone in Mystery School, so that you have this extra sort of tool in your toolbox to help you with prosperity along with the Mystery Schools. And you're also, you can participate in all the things that happen in Wealth Rising. There are miracle calls, there are fire rituals, there are chanting calls. There's a lot that you can do there as well. And the final thing is, if you join Mystery School now, there's a bonus teaching. So Dr. Pillai is offering an early teaching for those people who know they want to participate. So on December 10th, he's going to give a teaching for December. And if you sign up by December 17th, you'll have access to that. So it'll prepare you for the official start date in January. So you get an extra month of working and incorporating what Dr. Pillai's already given. And it'll be fresh and new and whatever Dr. Pillai knows we need on December 10th. So that is an overview. And again, we're going to talk more about the remedies. They're really an important part. And I want to make sure people understand why those happen and what they include, so you can tap into them throughout the year as well.
Unbelievable. I can't believe all those component parts. I think, actually, Sarah, you put together a lot of details to support Dr. Pillai's new Mystery School. And I'm just blown away by how much he's making available to everybody, in addition to the teachings this year. 2018 will not be the same. It can't be. There's no way.
Yeah, exactly. And you can really feel it. I mean, I can feel it in your expression of this, and Dr. Pillai's as well, that he just wants so much for people to succeed and to tap into this divine energy, to really use these teachings, like you said, to change, to transform. So it's a really exciting time, and we're happy to be here and share all of this with you. And there's still, so there's a long registration period for this program. You can sign up on Pillai Center. You can reach out to us as well. If you want to talk to somebody about Mystery School, you have questions, we are very happy to talk to anyone individually about your questions. I can go more in depth into the program details, or any type of question you have. If it's, oh, the other thing I didn't mention, you also get discounts on certain things. So because it's such an important program and people commit, you're committing financially, you're committing your time, you're investing in yourself in this program. So we also want to make sure you can participate in other things at Pillai Center. There's a discount. It's usually 20% on specific events, like package offerings for a big event. There might be a fire ritual or a webcast or call with Dr. Pillai. The other programs on Pillai Center Academy, you receive a discount. So still encouraging you to explore other avenues of his teachings as well.
And on his birthday trip too, I believe, right?
Right.
If you want to come to India and be with him in February, I believe there's a discount for all Mystery School people.
Right. So it's 15% off the birthday trip, which is a great deal. And I know there are people who have taken advantage of that already. It's similar in the sense of we never know if Dr. Pillai is going to do these year-long teachings. Same with his in-person trips to India. I know Jay Radha did a video on the trip a few weeks ago, and it was about, you know, how much it can transform you just to go to India and to go with Dr. Pillai to these power spots. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and you never know how many more he's going to do. So that's part of it. If you wanted to join this and sign up for the trip that's at the end of January, beginning of February. So I think those are all the components. I did have a PowerPoint to go through it, but I felt like it was maybe a little boring at the end and just wanted to share those. They are all on the website. We will make sure they're really clear, so again, you can ask us about any of the components, and we'll be breaking down, like I said, the remedies especially, so we can go through those with you and explain how they work and why they're so significant in a few weeks.
Great. And now the surprise, right? You have a special surprise for everyone. Everyone on this call gets to see for the very first time. It's not live yet.
That's right. And so I just want to say thank you again to Maya and to all the people working on Mystery School. Actually, there's a lot of people putting this program together. There's a lot of energy supporting what Dr. Pillai wants for people. So, you know, people reaching out to you, people writing newsletters, creating graphics, all the people working on this. It really is something special. And if you feel drawn to be with Dr. Pillai, it's the best way to be sort of in his realm, in that real time with him. Like I said, he reveals things as they come to him. He'll often call from somewhere if he's traveling in India or somewhere else and say, the Mystery School people need to know this, or share this with them. So you have that access to what he's experiencing in real time. And, you know, just to be with a living master on the planet right now is such a gift. So please let us know if you have questions about Mystery School, and we're happy to answer them and to walk through the program with you again. And thank you, Maya, Sonja, and going through all those in such great detail.
My pleasure. And I look forward to the program myself and to being part of the community.
All right, so give me 1 second and we'll share a little bit of Dr. Pillai inviting you to the Mystery School through his own words.
I have only one goal, and that is to enrich the lives of people. Not only their material life, but also the spiritual life. And also make people to understand miracle. The problems remain old. The problems are about money, relationship, health. They all remain the same. And they have remained so forever. The course is all about changing every day and looking at every day fresh. Not with an old mind, not with old concepts, not with the expectations that you had, but the expectations have to be changed. And that can happen when you have that knowledge and also the understanding how to change your brain. And that's going to be major focus on Mystery School program. I want to invite you and then make a commitment to change your life. If your life remains unchanged, always remember that it is your choice.
All right, everyone. Hopefully that worked. But please do let us know your questions about Mystery School. Again, thank you to everyone who is participating in bringing this program together. To all of you, I I hope this information was helpful and that you're able to understand a little bit deeper the topics that Dr. Pillai has put forth. We'll continue to explain them, to share people's experiences from these programs, and to answer your questions through Facebook, through email, through more webcasts. So please stay tuned. Sign up on Pillai Center for more information if you are interested. And we really look forward to 2018 being a big year of transformation with Dr. Pillai, taking advantage of this opportunity that exists to be studying with him, to not waste time and to go for it. If you feel called to be in this program, please reach out, and we look forward to hearing from you. Again, thank you to Sonja for walking us through those components, and we will see you next time on our next webcast. Namaste.